Welcome to The Gathering Greenhouse, a podcast to help us grow together. I'm Steve.
And I'm David.
And John is behind the camera today and looking very dapper.
I'm going to just look at my old camera every time.
The old camera?
Yeah, every time I talk, I'm going to look at my old camera.
And that would be my camera, so that's perfect.
Right,
just zoom in on me, and I'll just move my lips as you talk. Okay, well, I brought
just mouth watermelon.
Watermelon. I brought in something which was a holiday item. John, thank you for zooming. Your camera work is on point today. Here, he's dapping right now. For those that
wait, what does that mean?
Like that, right?
That's dabbing. That's
dabbing.
Dapping.
He's dabbling.
What is
with the dapping?
I don't. Maybe this is a road I don't want to run down because I don't know, and maybe I'm just in a better place not knowing. So yeah, that's definitely dabbing is what he did.
Yeah, he was dabbing.
Yeah,
my bad.
Okay,
it's early. It's 5 a.m. right now that we're here.
We're shooting this early
early
this morning because we got so much to do.
We have lots to do, but this is a Reese's sugar cookie big cup. Okay. And they also put king size on here. I thought king size generally meant you just got more Reese's, but apparently now they've made it bigger.
I think what it is the big cup refers to the size of the actual thing you're eating. And the king size means you're getting two of them.
So there could be a big cup that's single. That would be very sad.
No, most of the time the big cup is single.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm behind on this. I am just finding out. Big cups are fantastic, by the way.
They are my kryptonite.
Yeah. So yeah. I have a half for you.
Wait, there's two in there and you're only giving me a half?
Right. Do you want a whole?
No, I'll take what. That's fine.
Because I gave part of it to John. And this one.
So where's the other half?
The other half's right here. Someone can have it.
Counting.
Here,
like,
would you like?
No.
Would you like it?
No, I don't. Okay. I don't want it.
All right. So it has.
So this is sugar cookie.
There's sugar cookie bites inside. So it's milk, chocolate, and peanut butter stuffed with sugar cookie bites.
Now this might be really good, but I'm just gonna say, there comes a point in time when you stick with what you're good at.
Yeah.
Now that bite was really good, but I didn't get any of the sugar cookie.
Oh, really? I got a lot of sugar cookie.
It was all chocolate.
It was John saying no. He's miming no right now. He's still eating and chewing.
I can't spit it out.
What? You don't like it?
All right,
I kind of like the texture.
So everything that's in it is good.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mix as well as a regular Reese's.
Right.
It's just not as good.
The big cup pretzel and the big cup
caramel
pieces and the caramel. Those are good, but those things go.
The caramel one. The caramel one. Yeah, this was.
But none of those are as good as just the regular chocolate and peanut
I feel
butter.
like this is mostly marketing. They're like, how can we sneak more Christmas stuff in and sell more of these? But the one thing I do not like about the big cup is right here, like on the corner, you get more chocolate up there, and it messes up your bite. It needs to be consistent. It needs to just be a thin shell of chocolate.
You're really stretching here to be critical of the big cup. I think we should just let the big cup be.
Really?
Yeah. Just say, hey, it's
this
really
is
good.
why. But this is why I like the pumpkin shaped ones, because they don't have that issue.
Reese's eggs or die.
Yeah, Reese's egg. The eggs don't have. They're consistent.
That's a good number 2.
The pumpkin? Pumpkin's not number 2? The Christmas tree's number 2?
I don't know that.
What about the animal shapes?
There's what? I don't know about those.
Isn't that what they got sued over? Was the animal shape?
No, they may have got sued over that as well, but there was no smiley face on the pumpkin.
Oh, it was the smiley face.
There was no smile. Yeah, like a jack-o'-lantern. It was just a pumpkin, not a jack-o'-lantern when you opened it up, and they got sued over that. I don't know about an animal
I really
shape.
think there's something to be said, and maybe this makes me a communist, that we just need less choice.
Yeah, it must. I'm guessing it's all around money. They must push these out.
They're not doing it for our benefit.
They realize that it's not going to last. People aren't going to like this because you only see it.
Yeah, nobody at the Reese's factory is like, how can we really help people? Like, what can we do to just really, change the world for good?
Yeah.
They're like, how do we make more money?
How to make more money.
And hey, as long as they make a good product, I'll give them my money.
And Reese's is a good product.
Yeah.
Peanut butter cups.
All right.
Okay. So should we get into some questions here? We only have a couple of them.
We have a limited time today.
Limited time. We have a couple questions.
The snow day on Monday really kind of, made us compress our schedule.
Right. Yes.
That's why we're here at 5 in the morning.
Yep. It is 5 in the morning right now. I can't believe I'm awake.
Yep.
All right. Question for you. Do you believe God created the world in an actual 6 days? What is your take on this?
Your thought before we started today was that we might disagree on this.
I wonder if we I didn't say disagree. I wonder if we have different takes on it. Because my take is
wait.
Yeah.
I don't want your take yet.
Well, I was gonna say it's not like I'm like a live or die on this thing. I'm not a mountain I'm gonna die on.
I don't think either of us are dying on this mountain. But what do you think my take's gonna be?
I think
you're actually asking for my actual opinion, not what I would preach,
right?
But what's my actual opinion?
Okay, just a little bit knowing your background and growing up in the seminary you went to, I'm gonna go with an actual 6 days. Okay. That's what I'm gonna go with on it.
All right,
is your take?
All right. Good.
We'll see what you say.
So the reality is, this is one of those things that when I preach it.
Yeah.
And I have preached it. And actually, you can go back and we did a sermon series called First Things First.
Yeah.
Several years ago where we did the first 12 chapters of Genesis. And if you want to hear me talk through this question, I actually did it in a sermon.
How long ago was that?
I think it was pre-COVID. Were you here, John, for that? Was it pre-COVID, though? I'm not sure.
Right after COVID.
Okay. I don't remember for sure.
Yeah.
It was at least 3-4 years ago.
You know what? I'm going to say it was post-COVID because I had my TV on stage with me.
So it must have just been very post-COVID then, because we didn't have the TV up
we had
super
it for a
long.
while.
Yeah,
I missed that TV.
I do too.
Yeah,
I
really
like the
enjoyed
TV.
that. John doesn't let me have it anymore. But so when I preach a topic like this, I'm likely to be less absolute, right? Because I want to acknowledge that this is not a gospel issue. Despite what
would you
Ken
also
Ham may
say, yeah, would you also say, hey, the main things are the plain things and the plain things are the main things?
That.
I haven't heard you use that phrase for a while.
It'll come out when it needs to.
You use it a lot.
Maybe I'll use it this week.
Yeah.
I mean, I said
it's a good phrase.
I said something pretty close to it this Sunday, but you wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
But no, this Sunday I said, where God speaks clearly, we have to listen, or else it leads to confusion. But yes, I think this is one of those things where I don't know that I'd argue that it's not plain what Genesis 1 says. I think it's pretty plain. But I would say that, there's room.
Yeah.
I think there's room for someone to have a different reading of Genesis 1 without compromising the gospel.
Right. Okay.
Or who Jesus is or any of that.
Yeah.
So I think that's okay.
Okay.
That said, my opinion, that's what we're after. My opinion is that what happened is what Genesis 1 said happened, which is 6 days, 24-hour days. And the reason I would say that is because there's nothing in the text that hints that it was not 24-hour days.
Yeah.
Right. So why would a normal person reading that not just assume this is what is meant by day?
Sure.
Right. Including the language that the evening and the morning were the first day.
Yeah.
That really seems to hint at this is a day like we understand days. The other piece of it for me is that I think you have to be careful with how you understand death before sin, right? If the process of creation required lots of death, whether it be of animals or plants or humanoids, right? Or whatever. Why do you have any kind of death before sin? And so I think those are the two big factors for me. Is I think the plain reading lends itself towards 24-hour days. I think death before sin doesn't really make sense to me. And I would say this isn't an argument for it, but I think this is one of those things that kind of bolsters my opinion. Is I believe in the resurrection. I believe a man who is dead, fully dead, rose from the dead. Yeah. And if I believe that, I can probably believe that the God who raised someone from the dead was able to create the world in 6 days. Yep. So that's where I'm at. What about you?
Okay. Well, I would not disagree with any of your logical arguments and your take on it, I would think that's a very strong argument for that. And I would also say that this is not something that, I'm not like super passionate one way or the other, but I would say I would lean towards it not being a literal 6 days, but I could be convinced otherwise. Cause like you said, it doesn't matter what I want to think or believe. It matters what God actually did and what is written in Scripture. But I would make an argument to say it is written in an extremely poetic fashion that is repetitive, and there are styles within the Bible that are like that, and they're like that because that is a type of writing style that communicates a bigger picture. So I would probably lean towards that way, and also because to me it also links together what we observe on Earth, that things don't happen that fast in real time in real world. And like I said, God can do whatever he wants. It doesn't matter what I believe or not. That it, to me, it seems like more of a, hey, this is the character of God. This is what took place. God absolutely was involved in creation. He did these things, but this is a way to explain it in a way that we can understand it in the realm of in the realm that we understand things in something that we can relate to. Now, because also it's very short. We get a whole lot of creation in a very short period of time, which means to me that like, hey, it's not a science book. It's a book about God and how he works. So those are the reasons why I would lean towards not a literal 6 day creation.
I think the argument about poetry is the strongest argument. That Genesis 1 specifically does read a lot like a poem. And it's not unreasonable to look at Genesis 1 and 2 and say, hey, these are two chapters telling the same story different way. Like Genesis 1 is the poetic version and Genesis 2 is the narrative version. And so there's a long history of people who have believed that, going all the way back to church fathers, right? Thousands of years. People have said Genesis 1 should be interpreted as poetry, not necessarily literally. I think so. You're on strong ground there.
Right.
I think the danger, and I think you hinted at this, is that thinking that because it's not literal days, then, we're the result of random chance and evolution. And that's why I think it's important. What you said was God absolutely did this. He just did it over time. I think that's the way you have to approach that. You have to be careful about sliding into, God was either absent or there was no God that created. So, but I think like you said, either are, historically, Christians have believed both of those opinions. And we were talking before that this is one of those places where I think both of us would say, this is what I think, but I'm okay if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm okay if I'm wrong. And this was one of the questions that came up when I was in seminary, that like when we did a Genesis, we did, I did a class in Genesis, and we had a professor, Mr. Van Gumren, who is a very well-known Bible scholar, in that world, who, he shared the same view that I did. And I'm like, I didn't know how, because the church.
But you went to a liberal seminary.
I did not go to a liberal seminary at all. And the church that I was part of,
it was more liberal than the seminary I went to, though, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was. But the church that I went to would probably have leaned towards the 6 day creation story. So I wasn't really sure where.
Are you talking about the chapel?
The chapel, yeah.
I think, for sure.
Yeah. And so I was like, at the time, I was just entering into the church world. So I wasn't sure, like, am I allowed to hold different views than the church? So I went up to him like on a break and just said, hey, like, I'm reading this. What's your take on it? And he was nice enough to share his take with me.
Yep. Yeah. And like we were talking about, both of us would say there are a lot of people way more intelligent than us that have our opinion and that have the opposite opinion.
Right.
And there are also people that are a lot dumber than us. Who do have
lots. There's lots of people dumber than us.
So if this video actually gets viewed by more than our normal 3 viewers, we may get people in the comments
who disagree. We absolutely will.
Super angry, like, you can't, you can't believe the gospel if you don't believe Genesis 1 is literal.
Yeah. But for sure, people are going to say that. And my words to them, camera one, chill out.
Do you want to address Ken Ham and say that?
Ken Ham, take a chill pill.
All right. But maybe tell me he's got a cool arc, like cool arc, Ken, but chill.
Ken, your arc is pretty awesome, but chill out.
Yeah. So,
and the camera never changed as I was.
I know it was so good there. John's over there on his phone.
John's on there like he's
playing solitaire on his phone. So
he's over there practicing his dapping.
That's the end of the podcast.
Fun fact about Ken Ham.
Yeah.
I did my internship right out of college at Calvary Baptist Church in Covington, Kentucky, which was Ken Ham's home church. And so I remember.
Did they love him there?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if they still do. But I remember sitting in church one Sunday, and he was sitting like 2 rows in front of me. And my first thought was, what's Abraham Lincoln doing at this church?
Yeah.
And then my second thought was, oh, wait, I know who that guy is. Because I had watched his videos even way back then.
See, I would like to see you debate Bill Nye. I think that would be great.
Bill Nye is a joke.
He's not a scientist.
But Bill Nye is he's got a bachelor's degree in, I think, mechanical engineering.
Calling out Bill Nye right now. So
my son, who is 25,
if
has more education.
If you didn't take Ken Ham's approach at it, you could have destroyed Bill Nye.
Yeah, actually, back when they had their debate, I actually had a blog post the day before where I talked about this is the approach they should take. Bill Nye he's a poser. He's a charlatan. He's an oil salesman, a snake oil salesman. A medicine man.
He's an actor. I don't put any stock in what actors say.
He had a great show, but yeah. We better be careful. We're gonna get way off track.
Get way off track. Okay.
The unscienced guy.
Moving on. Great discussion.
But wait, does Google because Google owns YouTube? So as part of their algorithm, are they listening? Like if we say the certain things, that's gonna either bump us or kill us, right? So like talking about Ken Ham and Bill Nye and saying those names repeatedly, Bill Ham and Ken Nye.
What is it gonna do?
Yeah. All right.
No, you have to mention Elon Musk for it to be bumped up. So just
they don't like Musk now.
They don't.
No.
Used to. Okay.
Yeah. Have you seen the video of the Cybertruck that got stuck in the snow?
Yes.
Like in the middle of the city?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if it's real or not.
They had the wrong tires on it.
Is that what it is?
I have no clue. I was just joking.
They can't get their batteries charged.
Those things are so ugly. They're just so ugly.
Yeah. One part of me thinks they're super ugly, and another part of me thinks that they're super cool. I can't completely decide on it.
Phrase that for you.
Yeah.
One part of you thinks they're super ugly.
Yeah.
The other part of you is stupid.
Yeah. I don't know. I love geometric shapes.
Do you like the DeLorean?
So I like triangles. I enjoy them. So
The DeLorean is a better looking time machine than it was.
Do I like the DeLorean?
I feel like we just need to take some time in one of these days and unpack your statement. I like triangles.
I like geometrical shapes.
John, can we get him on stage playing the triangle?
How do you do that? What's that? It's a
ding. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Can we move on now?
We better be quick.
Okay.
It's almost 6:00.
So what hot takes do you have planned for this Sunday?
All right. Yeah, which is a great question if you think I had hot takes this last Sunday.
You're right.
I didn't really have hot takes, but I did kind of dip my toe into some maybe more controversial issues. We talked about that God only created 2 genders, male and female, and that, that's one of the reasons that our kids are so confused is because we try to blur that line.
Yeah.
So those are my hot takes last week. So this week, hot takes coming. We're going to talk about nakedness.
Okay.
All right. So it's going to be awesome. How many?
Can you explain that a little? Can you give us a little more details? I think if I just
leave it there, we'll have more chance that people are going to show up.
So that
I really think you need to emphasize that we're talking about nakedness. We're not practicing nakedness on this Sunday. Some of y'all freaky.
Yeah, we're going to talk about nakedness.
Okay.
On Sunday.
You don't want to elaborate.
I feel like I feel like leaving it there is a great teaser, right?
All right.
So we talk about marriage.
Yeah.
Or a little bit, right? And what God's plan for marriage is.
I didn't know if you're going with the Adam and Eve story.
I am.
Okay.
We're going to be in Genesis 2.
I thought so.
So, the title of the sermon is God's Blueprint for Connection.
Okay.
But we'll talk about nakedness and what role that plays in God's blueprint for connection.
Yeah.
But also, I'm going to try, And, I say this now, and I never know how much time I'm going to have, but that's not true. I always know how much time I'm going to have.
You just don't know how much you're going to need
I
to
just
say.
don't know how much time I'm going to take.
Right.
I would love to spend some time on this passage because it is a passage about marriage, talking about singleness.
Yes.
And so that's one of my hopes is that I can lean into that a little bit and talk about, if God's plan for connectedness is that everybody gets married, and if male and female together make the perfect representation of the image of God, what does that mean for single people? So I'm hoping to hit on that.
Right.
So
can you work in like the chili bowl several times into the
times
about like how we need
how many
chili?
Is several?
I'd say maybe we need a plethora of mentions.
A plethora is more than several. So 2 is a couple.
Well, several is more than 3, right?
Can't 3 be several?
3 or more.
3 is a few.
Yeah.
So 2 is a couple.
More than 3
is a few.
I think
several would be 4 or more.
Yes, several.
4 mentions of the chili bowl might be tough.
It could be very subtle. You could.
If nothing, I'm subtle. I'm trying to think how I would get 4 mentions of the chili bowl.
They were able to use the resources that God gave them. So they could have. You can mention.
Next week, I could do something where, like when I talk about how God made animal skins for Adam and Eve to cover them, and that that's just the skins. What they do with the meat,
what they do with the meat. Oh yeah.
Except for I don't think people were meat eaters until after the flood, or at least weren't supposed to be meat eaters until after the flood. But
who's the first person who's like, wow, this is really tasty. We should do this more often.
I can do chili bowl on the front end, chili bowl on the back end. Then I only have to get it in twice in the sermon. So I'll do my best. Steve.
Okay.
Just for you, man.
All right. Okay. Well, anything else before we close this wonderful podcast out?
I think we're done, man.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us on the Gathering Greenhouse. So keep it real, keep it rooted until we see you next time.